So I was talking to this infinite being one yay that comes in to, as she says, escape from her children. She uses the other word, which is hooved mammals, and so disrespectful. Anyway, and they come and paint, and so they be watercoloring. And they'll be like, they CAN blah 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 words when they can. They be drawing whole people. And the limitations that we put on ourselves pretty wild. So I make sure that I dissolve each and every one of them. I know I can do anything. I know I'm a document. I know I'm a genius of undocumented categories. They speak German, and it sparked the German. It took me a few days to want to pull it through in the experience. But they, the excuse of infinite beings and us not knowing in these family lineages is that they're not speaking it, or my children think it's blah blah blah, whatever societal trending aesthetic word to make yourself bland, truly without seasoning. Put your chicken, well, I don't care for it anymore. It's chicken without seasoning that you done baked, so it's cooked. But that's what life is when you're following along to conditionings, is unseasoned chicken. It gives you nourishment, sure. Well, I mean, it'd be better. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is when I know all my languages, we're going to have fun with it. But I will be speaking every one of them languages. Since I can understand all of them, if I'm utilizing them, why would... So you want your child to grow up, right, and left, front, back, side to side, and be this beautiful masked member of society following along to the conditions, doing exactly what they're supposed to. And that's not what I say. You want them to grow up and do exactly what they're supposed to and be the best that they can be. Isn't that one of the things that would assist them? So the fact that your child doesn't want to learn German and thinks it's annoying, you're going to stop using your language because you're choosing to keep yourself in situations where you're not experiencing other infinite beings who speak German. But I'll end up getting to say something to the infinite being. But yeah, I will be speaking it while my little infinite being is in the womb, growing into this space. I will be speaking it when they're out. I will be speaking different ones. You get to make life fun. And I've learned that if you want to be boring, oh, you will. And these projections, when you're psychic, baby, and we're all psychic, you really hear more than you think you're hearing, and you've been conditioned to think that it's certain things, or you, or this. And so shedding the conditionings makes this fun. Very fun. And I'm here for it. So I'm going to keep growing and thriving. And it's so funny because no matter what, I can switch it however. My children are going to be very much expansive and isolated at the same time. Not isolated in a square box like most of us think, or not able to do things. They're going to be doing all kinds of things. But the conditionings from TV, and not saying they won't watch TV, it's just you can make whatever you want in this reality. And if you're continuously eating shit that causes cancer when you know it's causing cancer, well, then your ass is just gonna get cancer. And you can't be like, I didn't know it was gonna happen, because it says on the box it's gonna give it to you. So just because it didn't happen right then, or 10 years down the road, we know what smoking cigarettes does to you. For us to still consciously be smoking these things just because we need... And is it consciously? It is and is not. We will be conditioned and cloaked in so much shade and notness. I just needed to get the fuck away from the job that I didn't want to be at. I needed to experience me smoking cigarettes, not understanding how to regulate my being, and being willing, because we get free will, to poison my body, for me to be willing to use my free will to not poison my being, to nourish me, to take care of me. I needed to experience the rituals with all the alcohol and all the fun and all of that, to be able to be like, well, damn, first time I tried alcohol, I was 7. It was in church. It was wine. And then it was 15 with the family because it's normalized. And the main being, one of the being that I got the second drink from, oh, they own it. Gulp, 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 gulp. I don't have these oral fixations. Even when I need to stop consuming my cannabis, which is a flower from the infinite mommy, and as soon as I grow it for myself, baby, I do. I have. All the time. I am in control of this response to every situation and my being completely. But I get how I didn't give a fuck. Now I cannot stand walking past infinite beings who are smoking cigarettes. Get away from the front door. We know secondhand smoke kills. How dare you threaten my life with your frequency that you want? And I did it to people. The cognitive dissonance will be real. And so we can't say, oh, that person doesn't want to grow. They are not in a frequency to be able to shift, and yet they are, because I did. I had to want change. The last time I blacked out, I said, I want change. And I say it, but I don't even think it's true at this point. I had 2 other drinks within 6 months, and I never had another drink again. And that was in 2020. And I had my first one when I was 7. Oh, nope. It would have been 12, because I was gratefully kept, because I was in foster care, from doing First Communion, which First Communion in the Catholic Church is your wine and your bread and your acceptance of energy that you don't even know what it is. And since I do now, I did then on a soul existence DNA level. But we have to be able to stop consuming things that keep us from witnessing our innateness. The first time that happened to me was with the Adderall. I was always in trouble, getting in trouble for selling weed, having a clean system, and I'd go to it wasn't always, but I was already in trouble because, well, I was conditioned to be a badass kid, and I was always fighting or standing up for someone who needed someone to fight for them, and I always had my ass in somebody's trouble. That ain't the case no more, and my children will never have to deal with that. And we don't even realize that infinite beings are being bullied, and that's why they're being taught that. I was being taught, still yet in the perfect home that I was in, how to be exactly what I was. It wasn't able to be nourished out of me until I decided to help nourish me. And that's what we get to remember. If you're pointing the finger saying you're not doing this, well, baby, you're not doing this. Internal manifests external. So I stopped pointing my finger at people. I stopped judging, guilting, blaming, shaming. The first time was when the school I would had to take a drug test because I get caught with weed, selling somebody some weed. And they'd be like, you have meth in your system. I'd be like, what? And I'd hit a conditioning. That's for vanilla babies. Because my skin, what? Another conditioning. And honey, I keep seeing this man. I told him I smoke cannabis and don't fool with nothing else. And he still decided to ask me about his white crack friend. Like, what? And this is a functioning human being. And I've met so many infinite beings who do hard drugs, hard alcohol, infinitely and eternally. They don't do it infinitely and eternally, but they choose to use it over there in their eternal essence instead of stretching their body to cope. And they fully function, making enough to help them thrive as they're wanting to, because we get free will. Left, from backside to side. I say that because right, wrong, good, bad. If you ever tell a child that they're bad, I'm going to put the definition here again. You are telling them that they are unwelcome, unwarranted, and there's some other things, but it's a very disgusting word. They've been taught by you and what you allowed them to consume to act this way. And then you tell them that they're not, like, these words create matter. And they made the saying and the conditioning, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, to cloak that ass. So you could be cloaked in some more shade and knotness, even though our innate eternal essence be wanting to shine through. And the more we experience, it does. But, like, That saying. We all know that saying. We all know that pointing your finger, well, everybody does know that, but pointing your finger at one person, you have three pointing back at you. Internal manifests external. That's not what it meant, but that's what I mean it as. That because normally it's a justification of something that you chose to experience. And sure, while we were children, none of that can be justified. And yet, saying, holding it, saying that you will never be well or have a great experience because of what your mama, daddy, cousin, auntie, uncle, that bad man, that bad woman, whoever put you through, is disjustice to that child that you are still. That's disassociative, and you get to grow from it. Why would you harm yourself in such a way? I just watched a beautiful infinite being say, I had to break up with the gym. And they meant it, and they mean balance. This is not negating their experience. This is not judging or projecting anything. This is holding myself accountable. That job that I wanted, say, that last one I worked, where I got these resources so I can print in-house, welding my tools, new passport, name change, all that. They fired me. They also lied. I had to sign a write-up, and I asked before, I said, so did I ever steal money? I said, did any money ever come up actually missing in the account that wasn't accounted for? She said no. I said, and did I ever actually disrespect anybody? And she said no. That last part was a little off because it's important, but it happened, and I used it as fertilizer for my growth. The infinite being stated, Jules, you, Kitty J, you make me uncomfortable. You make me defensive when I have to talk to you now. So me existing, being the exact same infinite being who you loved and hired and loved their work ethic and loved them working for you and making all this money for y'all for these months. That same person now makes you feel defensive, and that's okay. Please don't feel any type of way about any of that, says the energy also. Because I was unhappy. They weren't doing their part. I signed a contract. I'm supposed to uphold the contract. I shouldn't have to beg you to do cleaning supplies so I can do the job. So I didn't even want to be there in the first place. And then what happened is the label machine legally required to sell medical cannabis went out, and I was told it should never go out and it can be fixed. So holler. Kitty J, those labels are under the blah, 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 and how they said it, and they were annoyed. It's a 21-year-old. They know they just took $1 pay cut. They're stressed the fuck out. 21, you're young, but they choose in their free will. And I told you where they were, and I said, and I'm saying this as kindly as possible. I'm a genius of undocumented freaking categories. I know where the labels are, but they're not printing, and they got mad, and that's why I got fired. Because I asked them to do their legal job, to where if OMMA, the ABLE Commission, the licensing people who set alcohol, the people who check to see if the ID and they trick you and your ass gets in trouble for underage drinking and selling to minors, I'd pay big money. So you asked me to uphold your job, sign a contract, I do it, but you won't uphold yours, and then I'm supposed to be upset and feel some type of way because now you have to be defensive because you're not doing your job on top of me doing my job. And now I get to feel like I'm lack mentality, blah, blah, blah. And then I went through the rigmarole again of putting in the applications, asking people when they still hiring. The McDonald's over here is still hiring. The Walmart over there is still hiring. And it's not that I wanted to work at these places. I want income to take care of myself. And I innately know that I can make income from anything that I build and do with my hands. I know how to weld. I know how to carpentry. I can build a home. And as soon as I get all the resources, they will be provided to me. But we'll be like, well, it's me. I had to do. And you get to build your own space. While you definitely can go pay extra money to get some gym equipment and put it in your house, you could spend a little less money and use your innate creativity and build your own thing, but you can still get to build it your own way. You're out of the box now. While you might be, and this is for that infinite being still, while you're now in a garage, it's yours. And you're doing this for you. What is your why? What is your why? Why do you feel like you have to mask and still go through this rigmarole routine that you just got gratefully shifted from? And I get it, it's because it's a normal thing. But this person's been set free. And they still feel like they have to do certain things to do the gym. If you don't want to do the gym, figure out a new way to express yourself that's a lot more fun. You might like Tibetan dancing and can move your hips better than any Tibetan dancer. And there's no comparison. But I'm just saying, I got a feeling. Oh, I know I can Tibetan dance. But I guarantee you that this infinite being, he was talking about how he had Thai hips. Bet so. I love that. Anyway, keep thriving, creating expansive new narratives, new realities where you get to live in your innateness. Stop putting you in a box. You get to, me, I can be like, damn, I live outside. I don't get to necessarily bathe every day like everybody else, but I'm also not soaking my body with all the chemicals that are in our water that we just accept, that we know are in there. We just be like, oh, I don't, oh. And it's not shade. I just got into experience while I'm like, I want to swim. There's a reason why I haven't been able to go to the daggum river. And soon I will have a natural space where I get to swim and exist and breathe and thrive without the extra added chemicals. Because the infinite mother protects and keeps us safe, and we still be getting air, and the trees, plants, and animals of this space help neutralize the nessness. And then our innate magic and our energy and how we choose to consume, speak to ourselves, creates matter around us. So how can this experience help me grow? It's saving you money for one, and you get to figure out something new. For me, it might be 10 minutes right now, but that 10 minutes is creating space for me to have my splits as soon as I want to. That 10-minute workout is the same as doing an hour of being unkind to myself and pushing my body when I don't have to. When I can do this 10-minute exercise and still, I'm ready to show. And it makes me laugh because, I did kickboxing, and I still can do kickboxing right now. But I did 30-minute kickboxing fitness, wanting to out-exercise shitty-ass consumption choices. And I was 198 pounds for most of my existence because I was taught to eat a certain way to nourish my being. And I pivoted and shifted over the time, and then I was still eating processed foods, still eating things that were helping my body inflame. And once I stopped eating that, and now I'm only building my... What is your why? Why do you want to do what you're doing? I want to be balanced. I want to because I want to, truthfully. And if you want to do something, then you have a will to do it and you have a desire. And you'll set aside the excuses, the same as you want to go put the signs on a lawn to go do this, the same as you want to shave your legs to have your man's hand or your woman's hand, the same as you want to wear that makeup to do this. Want to do what you want to do and make it happen without making excuses for it. Do it, make it fun. Make it fun. When I am feeling some type of way about something, like when I'm remembering the languages and it's a saying, it's being a little ornery and Rosetta's not getting what I'm saying, and I truly will go through as many times as I need because I can redo the be mooring again. But I'll get the other three proper, and it's just me needing to listen and say and hear properly. And I truly say kindness gets me further instead of getting frustrated. And I end up getting it. And kindness gets us further. And I'm going to keep transmuting and alchemizing like that. Because this is how I thrive. Keep thriving.